I'll try and watch my language. I have a tendency to slip.
That's okay. All right, we're live, buddy. Okie dokie. So, guys, welcome back to another Staying Connected stream. I've just opened Photoshop there, so I'm gonna try and close that. Hopefully, it's not gonna crash anything. Yeah, I doubt it. Yeah, that's good. All right, guys. Yeah, so welcome back. How is everybody today? I hope you're all good. I hope you enjoyed the digital imaging session that we had today. It was the first one of those. I looked at a little bit of it, and it looked pretty cool. But guys, I just want to let you know that I am joined with a special guest today. Today, every Monday, as you guys probably know by now, we have a learner with us, and today we have Gary. So, Gary, thanks for joining us, bud.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
No problem. It's absolutely my pleasure, Gary, bud. So, Gary, could you please tell us? We always ask everybody this question, like a little bit just about yourself. How did you find out about Media Savvy, and
Well,
when did you join us, bud?
it's a bit of a lengthy story, but
It's totally cool, man.
I never went out of the house for like 16 years plus. And then obviously my mum passed, which was a rough part. And I never really planned to live after that. So I didn't really plan for afterwards. But on the day, I don't know why I didn't bother following through and I tried to help her, which was obviously not good. And then I got referred to, well, I didn't get instant referred. I got crisis team called out. After they come, I got referred to Monk Mouth, which was 6 months later. Got put in touch with Rebecca and Steve. About 6 months later, again, Steve then told us about Media Savvy and what a wonderful place it really is. And it really is, to be fair.
That's I
That's how I come in contact.
appreciate you saying that, Gary. Man, that's really nice of you, man. So that's pretty intense, man. And I remember the first time I saw you, bud, was
Yeah, you were my first session.
yeah,
He,
yeah.
he built us up to going for about 2 months. First, he tried to get us to the beach walks, which I finally said I'd go to one, and then Mel was in China doing the walk. So
Yeah.
then he settled on the Tesco's, and then we did a Rob drop in on Monday, and then I went to the courses afterwards.
Yeah, man. So what was like? Obviously, when you went to the Tesco, what did you think? Were you kind of obviously it must have been a
Oh,
bit intense after because I remember you just telling me there like it had been so long and that first coming into that first session that must have been
yeah.
so intense. Like how
I
was that?
suffer with massive anxiety, agoraphobia, and depression. And I think we sat in the car park at Tesco's for about an hour before I come in. I was absolutely bricking it. I was sweating buckets.
Wow, man.
Thing.
I
But
want to just say though as well, Gary, mate. Like, so obviously we had those first couple of sessions together, and you came in to Tesco's a couple of times, and obviously, like as you said yourself, then you were feeling pretty like nervous, and that was pretty intense for you. I noticed that like only we only did a few sessions together, but I noticed by the end of that that you were starting to improve even then. But then fast forward, I saw you in Mel's session. You know, at first you were doing the session with Mel, and then I saw you a couple of weeks later. And I personally, I'm sure you can speak for yourself, obviously, but I personally just saw you come out of your shell so much, became so much more social, and just so much more like kind of open. What do you think?
they say that, but I never notice it really in myself. It's kind of hard to notice in yourself. They're trying to work on that, but
Sure.
it was it was a long grind to say the least because it took before I even saw you. It was months and months of
Yeah.
just Steve driving us just to go sit at a beach bench
Sure.
and get a cup of tea. But it was I think if I look hard, I do notice a little bit more, but it's still hard and awkward in places. That's for sure.
Yeah, but I mean, so how were you feeling at the end of? Obviously, you were doing the drop in and stuff with Rob as well. But how were you feeling at the end of Mel's session? You know, by the end of that, did you just feel like you kind of you must have had a good
Well,
sense of achievement there because you've overcame so much, right?
it was a good sense of achievement, and it was nice time because Mel's an outgoing person that
Yeah,
just makes you feel at home,
definitely.
and it was a nice, relaxed environment.
Yeah, and Yeah, I think that's absolutely amazing, mate. And then hopefully, once this lockdown's over, we're going to be able to put on some more stuff, and obviously, we'd love you to come to that as well. So hopefully, we've got plenty of stuff lined up. How have you been finding the streams lately? Have you been? I noticed that you've been in the chat on some of them. How have you been finding it, bud?
I've not done recently on the well, I haven't done any of the photoshops recently, but that's just motivation on my half. But I'm in most of them just most time. They're really good. Just not even just like to watch, just to hear people and the conversation, banter,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
lesson and learn. It's just nice to hear people, especially if you don't have many people to talk to or many people that you see during the day.
Definitely, bud. I think that I noticed. I think it was last week. It was me and Mel were doing one, and I think that you, Charlotte, and Sue were having like a really good crack on, and they're like, I thought like the conversation was really flowing then. Like, do you remember that one?
I think so. Was it the cooking one?
That was it.
Or
Yeah.
the or no, would
No,
have
it
been
was.
right the body fit mind.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And yeah, so I've been enjoying that kind of having a bit crack with everybody and stuff like that.
yeah. It's nice if you don't have like a big variety of people to talk to or anyone to talk to. It's you even just going and you're talking to somebody and you're making them feel better just talking to
Yeah.
them, even if it's not for yourself.
That's a really good point, mate. And obviously, you personally will be one of the best people for that because you can draw on your own experience, so you can relate to people.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
it's,
So
it's like lockdown life for me. I'm not phased by it really. I did it for 16 years. The months have been nothing. But it's like if I can go in and talk to somebody and they feel better or
yeah,
something, it's nice that way.
I think that's a good point, mate. I think I myself, I'm a little bit of an introvert as well, and I've noticed that like some people that I know who are like super extroverted people, like they can't bear it. Like they're so not
Yeah,
used to not being outside, and they're going crazy. But like I think that I'm a bit like you, where like I'm like I love like movies so much, and like I could happily just sit and watch movies like all day, and play games as well, and obviously I'm quite fortunate because I live with a couple of my roommates as well, so like we can just play certain games and we can watch movies, and like I know that it's tough and it is stressful, and obviously with all of the kind of news going on and the endless news cycle, it's very scary stuff for everybody no matter what. But I feel like extroverts are probably suffering a little bit more than the
yeah,
introverts. Well, how do you
yeah.
feel?
I just play with my really good friend on games, and when they're not on, I just binge watch Netflix
There you
or
go.
something.
There you go, buddy. That's the one. Like, so what games have you been playing lately? I know that we spoke a little bit
Uh,
off stream about
I've
Overwatch.
been playing a bit of Overwatch this week, but before that was Diablo 3.
Nice.
I seem to play that game despite it being 9 years old.
Class, yeah, yeah. Like I don't know if I told you when I saw you, but we recently got is it the Necromancer?
Oh, the
Like
Necromancer
that,
DLC.
yeah, the DLC, and
Yeah.
we would all play couch co-op, so we would all play like all three of us together, and then whoever was the Necromancer would just ruin the game because it's just the most like overpowered thing ever, and it just gets like it just destroys everything.
You
So
see, it's different on PC. The most overpowered stuff's whatever you can blink across the screen with the fastest because you're
right,
just faster.
yeah,
But I don't have couch co-op, so I've just multi-box Diablo instead.
nice, fair, yeah, that sounds awesome, man. Yeah, that's a good idea. I used to do that on RuneScape as well. But
Yeah,
because it's like it would be you could have like kind of you could trade stuff back and
just
forth as
just
well.
funnel yourself gear, get
Yeah,
yourself maxed.
exactly, exactly. I mean, like there've been times on RuneScape before I had that, like when I didn't have like when I don't know why, but like years ago before I would know how to do that, I literally like dropped like so much money on RuneScape, and then I'd like log into my other account and I'd be like, like someone's gonna pick it up. It's like so intense, but yeah. I don't know. Have you ever like? Do you do much retro game? And have you played any like kind of Sega games or anything like that?
I've I've played games since the SNES and Nintendo 64. I've played
Nice,
everything. Some of my favorite games are still the old school games.
classic.
Like the best game I've got is Metal Gear Solid 1.
Oh, dude, that's
I
one of my
actually
favorite games of all
I
time.
actually bought an unopened copy of it for about 60 quid just
That's
to keep it as a collection
yeah,
item years ago.
love it. Yeah, it's one of my favorite games of all time. There's so many like um just amazing things like where I think it was like you play Psycho Mantis where you've got to plug your controller into the other
There's
port.
port two. Remove
It's
your memory card, plug your controller in a port two.
That's amazing,
You
and
got you got to do a phone call to Merrill and the codec
yeah,
numbers on the back. But
it's
back in the time, it was
so innovative.
revolutionary.
Yeah, I remember when you're getting tortured by Revolver, Revolver,
That's a
what's
lot.
Ocelot, Revolver Ocelot, and you can do like there's like three different story paths, like whether like how you if you like you put the like ketchup on yourself and you get busted out, or
Uh,
if you survive the torture, and there's like a few different, and I thought that was so cool as well.
it was very innovating and leading the way for what future was.
Yeah, definitely, it was amazing. So basically, on that note, we got we recently like a couple of days ago we bought the Sega Mega Drive pack and we were playing there's so many good games. We completed Streets of Rage 1 and 2 and then yesterday we did Golden Axe 2 and like Golden Axe is like one of my favorite games ever. I
I
think
could never beat that game.
so
That
good.
game was too hard.
Yeah, it's a tough game but it's so fun, man. We're gonna do Golden Axe 3 probably tonight.
They just released Street of Rage 4 as
They
well.
did. Like, yeah, we're gonna buy it. They did like a couple days ago, so I'm pretty excited about that as well. But mate, like some of the Sega games, they're so difficult. Like back then when it was like SNES Sega, they
It's
it's
you can't control them so easy. The frame rate capture on movement, it's just everything's so hard about the old technology.
it's ridiculous,
That's what
but
makes them the best when you beat one of them.
definitely, definitely, yeah, I
I
know.
don't think I ever finished Sonic once. Not even once.
Well, on Sonic 2, I've completed Sonic 2 a few times, but like apparently you can get like Super Sonic if you get all of the rings or something,
Yeah,
and he goes like yellow. But like I could never do that because it's so difficult. And Sonic 3 as well, I think you've got to get like all of the little bonus things. It's just way too difficult. It's like it's really it's really solid.
the old school games never played games with you really. It was more torture.
Yes, I know. Totally, bro. I totally agree. All right, man. So, let's have a look. So let's have a look at the chat here, bud. Matthew Moon said, if I didn't have my PS4, I think I would have lost all sanity by now. So, fair point. I think I can definitely relate to that, Matthew, mate. And Matthew says, now I shall move your controller by the power of my will alone. So that's absolutely awesome. Anthony is saying that he's thinking of getting a ninja tattoo from MGS, which would be pretty cool. Um, what what's that guy called in MGS again? Is Grey Fox? Grey Fox
Grey
is
Fox,
so
and then
cool.
Raiden in the later one, but
Yeah,
Grey
and
Fox is better.
MGS two. But do you remember
Yeah,
in MGS two? Like, did you play MGS two where there's like
yeah.
a fake Grey Fox?
Olog was the ninja as well.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I remember that. I remember when Grey Fox, spoiler alert, but when Grey Fox dies in MGS one, it's like one of the most intense like death scenes ever.
yeah. You watch it now and it just looks so outdated, but
I
back then it
know.
was like, oh my god,
It's so true. Back then it was
this guy
absolutely
that's tried to
amazing.
kill his old games dying, and I'm actually bothered.
I know. It was so intense. The final boss on MGS one was so hard. Um, so Anthony said, I'm enjoying Predator Hunting Grounds at the moment. I think it's a PS4 exclusive. Yeah, I
Yeah.
saw that on the PlayStation Store, and I was thinking about buying it. To be honest, Anthony, it looks pretty good.
And if you have a PlayStation at the minute, I think you can still get Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 for free at the minute. So
That's absolutely awesome. Yeah, yeah, you can. They were the ones in the store. So yeah, you're right, man. So I want to ask you, Gary, mate, have you been doing any streaming yourself at all? Is that something you'd be interested in?
um, I stream occasionally, but it's normally when I'm bored, and I do it on either my YouTube or Twitch,
Fair enough,
but
man. Yeah.
mainly YouTube because Twitch is just filled with trolls, really.
Oh, I know. Tell me about it, bro. Yeah. So how have you been finding that? Is that like do you enjoy doing that, or is that like some? Is that
Uh, don't really enjoy it. I mainly just do it to stream gameplay to either a friend if they want to watch it, or just for no reason, boredom.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, especially if like you don't want to do like a Zoom call with like 10 people or like a Discord or something, and you can just stream it, and then your friends can just watch it on that. It's a pretty good idea. So obviously, I know that you're pretty tech savvy, and I saw in the chat the other day you were saying that you'd rewired your computer. Is that right?
It was a mess, and when I originally bought my parts about 6, 7 years ago, the motherboard was fried when I got it, so I waited 3 months for a motherboard replacement. So I just packed it all in, turned it on, it worked, cushy, shut in, never bothered. so the wires were a mess, and my temperatures were getting a bit high. So I took it all apart and actually sorted it out for the first time.
That's so cool, dude. So how do you know how to do that? Is that just something you picked up from, or did you?
YouTube video.
That's literally it. Yeah. Do you know what it is though,
I
mate?
watched YouTube videos for 3 days when I ordered all. I didn't even know how to build a PC when I ordered my parts. I just ordered them, and then I was like, "Oh crap!" And then I put a YouTube video on, watched about 2 days solid of how to do it, and did it like that.
That's it. And you know what it is, mate? That's what I try and stressing it to like everybody, that that comes into my sessions or anything like that. There's just an archive of just information on the internet and on YouTube, and like you can learn how to do anything, from a YouTube video.
Literally,
It's amazing. It really is amazing. And that's why I think that these streams are so good because we're able to put like stuff out there. You know what I mean? Like we're able to put these sessions on the streams, and that's so cool, right?
yeah, you literally learn anything on YouTube. The only downside is there's no real live interaction, but that's where classes like yours comes really good, where
Yeah,
you can ask the questions and get the answers that you want.
definitely, definitely. I'm just thinking there as well, Gary. I think that's a really good point there, by the way, mate. Yeah, because we're actually that's something that I always say as well. I'm gonna try and not. I've got like two lines of thought, and I'm trying to like keep one in the barrel, but then say what I'm saying currently. So yeah, I think that's an interesting point because that's always my issue. Like because I always follow tutorials for like video edit and stuff. Like whenever there's like something I don't know how to do, I'll just Google, I'll just YouTube it. And there's sometimes where it's like there'll be a certain one step that I can't get right, and I'm thinking like I wish I could just ask the person.
And
What
then you
happens
go
here?
looking in another video, another tutorial to see if he's got the one step that you're
Yeah,
missing, and you just end up in a dark rabbit hole
I
of
know.
10 tabs later.
I know it's a nightmare, bro. It so easily happens as well. And what I was gonna say was like that the Tesco sessions that you first came to, and then Rob's sessions beyond that as well. Um, One of the things that makes them so good is they're funded by CCG, who are kind of we're in partnership with these streams as well. And I think that one of the things that makes them so good is that there's no paperwork, right? So if you remember in the Tesco sessions and in Rob's drop-in sessions that like
Yeah,
we can just get straight out into business, and it's good that it takes out the middleman of like the paperwork. It gets from like it's just us to you. So like, what do you think? Do you think that obviously we really appreciate the courses we have, which do have paperwork, and we understand that that's a necessary evil. But I mean, from your perspective, do you think that helped? Because if you imagine some of the paperwork that other courses have, if you had to do that before you came in,
I would I'd say for people like me that's very scared and anxious about the room, it definitely does help not having the paperwork at first because
yeah,
you don't want to get in and then just be greeted by paperwork and then look like you're kind of on the spot of I've got to fill this in front of them, and why you can just get in, sit down,
yeah,
crack a laptop open, and get going 10 minutes later.
exactly. No, I think you're totally right. I think that it's to CCG's credit that we can kind of put the sessions on that way, and obviously we do all of the tracking and everything, but just not having that kind of preliminary paperwork as a roadblock, it helps us to access the learner so much better. And I think,
Yeah, definitely in them ones.
yeah, so I think it's good, and that's why I generally think that the Tesco sessions in particular, and Rob's drop-in sessions as well, it's a great way to kind of introduce people to media savvy because then they can do what they want because we've got the flexibility to cater to them, and then beyond that we can also they can also kind of they don't have that paperwork so they can just meet us immediately and then we know what they want to do, and then beyond that they can decide if they want to go on and do health and fitness stuff or if they want to go on and do a digital imaging course. So I think that it's a
Yeah,
nice little introduction.
definitely.
Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Um, Okie Doug. So I want to ask you as well, Gary Bud. Have you seen any kind of? Because I know you've sent some stuff in as well. Have you seen much uplifting stuff on in the news?
Um, I saw a weird one. It sounds weird, but it's actually really nice, and he's getting a lot of praise.
Okay, yeah.
Him and his three sons, instead of going out for the daily walk, they walk to a cemetery, and they've been cleaning up and treating neglected graves with obviously no one doing it,
Wow.
which is would sound weird and people would be angry, but all the families of the graveyard stones are actually thanking them and supporting them because it's looking after their loved ones when they can't technically.
That's absolutely awesome, and I think that's a really good point, Gary, because it's like what you said. It's something that not a lot of people would have thought about, right? Because it's
No, it's like you wouldn't think, oh, I'll go clean somebody else's gravestone. It sounds kind of wrong, but when you think of
it's
the niceness of it
yeah,
and what it means to the other people that's getting it done for them.
definitely, and I mean the good point there as well is, I mean, how often would you visit someone's gravestone? You would maybe on occasions, you know what I'm saying, but you wouldn't.
Once a year,
Yeah,
twice a
yeah,
year, maybe,
exactly.
depending.
And in that time, I mean, unlikely, but they could get like a bit dirty, right? Because just from
Uh,
natural reasons, and
it showed, obviously, a news crew went in and took pictures, and it shows before and after, and he's really done a good job. He must be a professional cleaner because the ferry clean.
I mean, yeah, and I think that's awesome, and it's a nice gesture for the people as well because it's honoring someone else's memory if you think about it that way as
Yeah,
well. So,
it's what the nice side of it is. He's cleaning up them and keeping them nice and respectable.
exactly, mate. I think that's a really good point too. So I want to ask, Bud, what sort of things have you been up to? I know we spoke a bit about the gaming, but how about other hobbies? Have you been doing anything kind of gym related, healthy eating, or?
Um, I'm still banned from the gym because of the Bell palsy malarkey,
Fair enough, mate. Yeah.
and you can't tell me physiotherapist. But last week I did a little bit of workout, and the day after I couldn't blink my eye, so I'm
Oh,
definitely not going to do any more for now.
yeah.
I
Fair
thought I'd
enough.
try the water, but
Yeah.
no, just really keeping on top of cleaning.
Brilliant.
Cooking's been a bit iffy, but that's whatever. It'll get better, hopefully.
I
And
honestly,
taking my dog for the obviously the 1 hour walk a day because I got
nice.
latched by a policeman for taking her twice.
No way. Honestly,
Yeah.
what happened? I mean, if you do have to go into
Um,
details, but like,
just down the road from where I am, where I walk, is our local police station, and he's like, "I saw you out this morning. You only allowed your
no
dog out once a
way.
day." Said, "I'll
Oh,
let you
come
off this time, but
on.
you've been warned."
I mean, yeah. I mean, fair enough. I understand they've got to do their jobs and respect to them, but at the same
Uh,
time, it's
I
like it's only a dog. It's only walking the dog, and I think that the dogs do need to be walked. So it's a little bit too strict potentially. That I think. Um, although I can't understand we have these precautions, but yeah,
it's fine. It's whatever.
yeah, it is what it is. And like you say, you've been making the most of the time out, so I get that. But um, and yeah, fair enough. So, but cleaning, I think that that's a really underrated positive
The
thing because
the state of your living surroundings affect your mental a hell of a
so
lot.
true, bud.
You don't understand it, but just wiping dust off your desk will change your entire day.
Dude, that is so well said, and I think that that's so true because yeah, from everyone's own experience, right? I'm sure that everybody can relate to that, but um, my mental state, like if and there is actually like it's not just like the visual aspect of like, oh, I'm looking at this and it's horrible. There's like so many like psychological factors that go into it, like I saw that there was these kind of people that had done tests, right? So they'd interviewed a person twice under different circumstances, and then one circumstance that the person there was like trash in the room. They put like really like stinky trash in the room, and the person's responses were much colder when there was the trash in the room. And they also did it where they'd give a person like so it's and like that can like filter in. So if
Yeah,
you feel like you can't focus for some reason and then your room's a mess, the two things are probably linked, right? Even though you might not
yeah.
consciously think about it.
You honestly wouldn't think it, but just wipe the dust off, hoover up, mop, clean. It'll change your entire day. A lot of the
Exactly,
times.
exactly. And that's the interesting thing as well. I think about that is that although people might they might not consciously think about that, so they could be they could feel distracted maybe, or they could be feeling maybe like that that maybe a bit kind of stressed, and they're not thinking it's because of the mess. But if they tidy up, it does make the difference, as you said yourself there. And I think that is a really good bit of advice. And I also think it's great just beyond the mental aspect there that we talked about is also the fact that it's a really good habit to form, and I think it nurtures self-discipline. Excuse me.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's a good habit. It's not been my habit, but it's trying to get there. I'm trying.
Yeah, mate. I'm like what you can see of me. Everything's like it's just my couch and stuff. But to my right, there's a table and there's like Diet Coke cans and stuff. So it's like
I've got I've got old bits on the settee off what
there
I
you go.
cleaned the PC with. Still,
Yeah, I got like cans of
I'll
Diet
move
Coke
them
and
one
stuff in
week.
here. So, but yeah, I will get it. So, but mate, it's like it literally it's like you tidy the whole house and then you'll have like a huge meal and then like after the meal it's like everything's a mess again. You're like, how does this happen? It's like I can't believe it, man. But yeah, so how about I know that you mentioned about putting your computer back together and stuff, and I think that is like an amazing hobby. So have you been doing like kind of I know you said you've been viewing some of the streams. Have you been watching like other tutorials and stuff like in regards to like things like that?
Um, Not really, because with the computer, it's kind of once you've done it once, it's riding a bike with a PC. Really
Yeah.
sounds all complicated and scary, but just plug PCIs in, 6 pins here, 7 pins there, sorted.
Uh,
Um,
uh,
I'd say I watched a tutorial on how to beat a game.
yeah, well
Part that I was stuck
yeah,
on.
something in it. It's still yeah, it's still something, man. What I was saying is what I'm thinking as well is that I think that your kind of will to learn, I think that's very admirable as well. So I think that you know, having that thought, like because most people, myself included, I look at a computer and I think that's like that's going to be really hard to put together. That's like a task and a half. But the fact that you thought to yourself like you just thought, "Sorry, I'm going to buy this and then I'm going to learn how to put it together." That's I can really admire that because that just shows like you're like right, I'm going to force myself to learn this and do it, and I think that's very admirable. And yeah, I think that knowledge that you can learn anything I think is important as well, and I kind of try and take that like the way I look at it. I don't know how about yourself, mate, but I kind of think of stuff like I think okay, like I can learn anything that I want to, but it's all about an investment of time, and
It's
there's going to be the case of like my natural attributes. I'm going to be good at I'm better at some stuff than I am other stuff. So I think that I can do anything, but it's like I know I'm also aware that like okay, if I want to do this, it's going to take me longer because my maths is not great or so on.
it,
So
it's all just time and willpower, really. If you've got the willpower to learn it, you can learn it. There's nothing that you can't learn or can't do,
exactly, man.
other than maybe languages. Languages just don't sit well with me.
But that's the thing, though. So I think as well, maybe that's something that you're not naturally gifted at, but and I still think you could learn that. But it just may take you longer than it would take you to
Yeah.
put a computer together because,
Give us give us a circuit board, I'll sort that out, but
there you go.
I'll give you basic French and then I'm done.
It's one of those things, man. It's just like it's like exchanges of time, isn't it? And obviously we are drawn to some stuff more than others as well, just in terms of our interests, and then obviously what we're naturally good at versus what may take us a little bit longer. But I think that brings us on to a good topic as well, mate. I wanted to ask you, do you have any advice for anybody? Because I know you opened the show with a very honest kind of account of how you came to meet us, and it's such an amazing story, I think. And I think that I got so much respect for you, mate, for overcoming that, and I really think it's amazing, and like I know you say yourself that you haven't. It's hard for you to notice it yourself, but for
Yeah,
me,
I just think it's whatever.
yeah. But for me, I can notice a huge difference in you, and I think it's great, man. I think it's very you done great to do that. But I wanted to ask you, bud. So obviously, given that in mind that you've overcome this kind of stuff, and obviously now we're in lockdown. Do you have any kind of advice for anybody else who may have mental health issues or anything like that, like any kind of coping mechanisms or anything that you've been doing to help you relax or just anything at all, like advice wise?
I'd, I'd say a couple of the strong points is just keep your house clean. It'll honestly going to bed with a clean house, waking up with a clean is honestly it'll change your morning. You get up and you think, oh, it's pig style. I can't be bothered with today. But if you get up and it's nice and fresh, like it's a good start. Then after that, it's just have something. It's hard to save because if you don't have an interest or games or films to do, but just try and find something to pass the time within
Yeah,
the circumstances. And a good friend never goes too far. have somebody you can always talk to, rely on, and just a nice conversation with, because a chat will change your day.
Definitely, mate. I think that's great advice as well. I think exactly as you said, bud. Um, you know, like yeah, pretty much everything you said, like being in touch with your friend and that kind of social kind of aspect to it. I think that's so important, and I think that you touched on something really good as well. I know me and you are both gamers, and I know some people in the chat are as well, and love movies and so on. But it's like finding that interest, right? It's like finding what you're passionate about because
Yeah,
if that can be something that's great as well because when you find something that you really love and some people haven't found it yet, but once they do, and I think there is something for everybody, once you find what you really enjoy, then it will be, you could just spend
yeah.
an
You
unlimited
don't
amount of
even
time.
you don't even realize you'll enjoy it because you'll pass that much time on doing it. But if you can find something that you can pass a whole day without even realizing that day is gone,
Yeah,
you found something you definitely love there.
exactly. And it is important to have that as well because that's that relaxation that we're talking about, and it's, it's a joy to be able to kind of have interest like that, I think. So yeah, definitely. Um, Great, man. I'm just going to catch up with the chat a little bit and then we'll look at some good news, mate.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, let's have a quick look then, Gary, mate. Okay, so Lisa said that is brilliant advice, Gary. Cleaning, however small, can make a big difference. Totally agree with
you
that.
honestly can. You don't understand.
Yeah,
Big difference.
totally can, mate. And Mel said as well, she says that cleaning really helps clear your head. So Mel's in agreement with that too. Um, Mel also asked, Gary, can you sort Dan's computer out? I'm guessing. Haytham commented on the heat coming off it last week, so might have a job for you there,
That's
Gary, mate.
that's old PC, fan, dust, compressed air. Get that sorted.
There you go. See, so there you go. Problem solved already. Gary's on the case. Yes, and we have one of our learners, Wib. I don't know if you caught the staying connected last week. Wib was the guest.
Yeah, I watched it.
There you go, buddy. He said, Gary, are you musical? Do you sing or play an instrument? Because obviously Wib is very
Um,
musical.
I've always wanted to play the piano, but never bothered to learn. And I did used to do guitar lessons as a child, and I could play the Bob the Builder theme song.
There you go,
But
man.
I can't play any of that anymore. It's been a long time.
That's absolutely class, man. I want to ask, what do you think about video game music? Are you a fan of any video game music? Because I've got like the certain video game soundtracks that just stick with me in my head forever.
Um, all the Metal Gear, but one
Oh,
of my favorite is I don't know if you ever played it. Is What Remains of Edith
I haven't.
Finch.
Oh, my friends played it. My friends
The
played it. Yeah,
It's a really good game, but the soundtrack to that is beautiful. It's just piano, guitar melodies, and
sounds
really
awesome.
relaxing.
Is it like murder mystery kind of thing? Is that right?
It's like just a story based telling game. You don't
Yeah,
even it's not really a game, it's more playing a movie, but it's really
yeah.
good.
Yeah, that's it. For me, it's always the Ocarina of Time soundtrack. I mean, that like every track on that is just absolute banger. It's like unbelievable. Even like the shop music, which is like 30 seconds long, like when you go into a store. It's like even that, like I can like stays in my head. I always say that like that soundtrack is like it's just like a screensaver for my brain. Like whenever I'm just sat idle, it's just like playing in my
you'll
head.
idle and you'll just hear him playing or
That's it.
something.
That's it,
It's
man.
crazy.
And also like Streets of Rage, all the Streets of Rage soundtracks are amazing. And they've got the same guy, producer, composer guy back for Streets of Rage 4, so it's going to be
I
some
just
good.
bought not the new, but obviously the remake of Zelda for my Switch last month as
Oh,
well.
oh,
I've never played before. The music on that is beautiful as
oh
well.
my god, mate! Literally, I almost bought, and I think I may still do so. Almost bought a Switch for that reason because that game looks so good.
Uh,
Um,
it's very hard to get Switches at the minute, but I'll
yeah.
definitely agree because it is good.
Even I want to get the main unit because I think that's the one. But even a Switch like Lite, like the one that's like a DS basically, I might even get one of those because I really want to play this game. But you get frame
It
drop
is.
on those, right? Sometimes.
Yeah,
So
I've not getting on many games like the Breath of Wild was fine, but on this one, because they have a lot of motion blur on the top and bottom to give it a fade effect of
sure.
distance and
Yeah.
like a world, it does get frame drops occasionally when you go through scene to scene, but that's about it.
Yeah. I was playing even I can't remember if it was Skyward Sword or Twilight Princess. I think it was Skyward Sword. In this like it feels blurry, and I was like, I remember no, it wasn't. It was Twilight Princess. I love Twilight Princess, but I was I kind of look, I Googled like why is it blurry, and it's apparently like it's just like because it's, I think it was made before like full HD or something like that, or I'm probably butchering that, but there's something to do with that where they basically did it to try and gloss over some of the defects in a
Yeah,
way.
they did in old school games of where it was 720p, they would put a lot of motion blur on just to
Yeah,
try and cover up the jagged anti-aliasing lines
there
and
you go.
everything.
That's it, man. All right. So we and you could chat about games all day, but I'm sure that there's people who are watching who don't want to just hear us talk about just games. So we'll look at some news together, but we've got some uplifting news there. Okay, so we'll get into that now. All right. So here we have. Just gonna open this separately in a tab. We have, what do we have? Praise for Sunderland locksmith who helped out City Mosque free of charge during coronavirus pandemic. So this is a really cool story. This was sent to from one of my colleagues, Lisa, and basically this is about Paul Fletcher, who was contacted by the Sunderland Central Mosque on Chester Road. This is a local story, guys, and the premises were closed. The story is that the mosque will shut themselves out because there was a faulty lock on the door, and obviously the premises was closed because of coronavirus, but they still need to access it for like general upkeep. And the locksmith Paul was felt annoyed by stories of businesses profiteering from lockdown and like trying to make kind of money when people like really needed it or so on. So what he did, and there you go, there's a picture of the locksmith there. You might be able to see that one. And then he not only helped by attending to the problem and cutting new keys, he didn't charge a penny for what would have been around £100 of work. And emergency lock lifts are classed as essential workers. So that's a nice little story there, a nice local story of a locksmith helping out in the general community. That's quite a nice one, isn't it, Gary? What do you reckon, mate?
It's class because a lot of people are trying to profit off the pandemic, which is just disgusting anyway.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I mean,
So
we
it
covered a bit of it. We covered,
it shows what people are made out of.
yes, exactly, bud. And as you just said yourself there, mate, we covered a bit of it. We had some people on, Idiot of the Week, who were, like trying to, they bought like a million face masks and then Amazon wouldn't sell them back. So, like, yeah, I think you're right, mate. It's good that there's people out there who are doing just like genuine gesture. Okie dokie, I've got one here that the headline is a little misleading, so I'll explain to you guys the actual crack. UK scientists create coronavirus antibody test with 99.8 accuracy and results in 35 minutes. Okay, and then I read through the article, guys, and obviously this is great no matter what, but the thing is here is that what it is it's a coronavirus antibody test. So what they said is that this test can see people who've had the coronavirus and if they'll be immune to it, if they've built up antibodies to it. That is the purpose of this test, unless I'm mistaken. Um, but yeah, I'll have another quick look here. Yeah, so while the British government says the laboratory has the capability to test for coronavirus immunity, is being used for survey testing of blood samples. But this particular thing is for antibodies. The test aims to establish whether a person has developed antibodies to the coronavirus, usually after being infected by the disease, and therefore is immune from being infected again. So I still think this is a really cool thing, though, that they've made something here. Um, it's an Edinburgh team that is based in Switzerland, and they've made this test here, which I think is really cool. So it's good to see these kind of breakthroughs in science as well. So yeah, and they're saying the Scottish government is working closely with the UK government to ensure that everybody is able to access new antibody tests when they become available. And it said also that this same laboratory is trying to make home testing kits for the UK as well. So that's something that they're trying to get out there as well. That's another one of their aims. So that's another cool thing there. And that would be really great if we can, up the testing in the UK. What do you think about that, Gary? Do you reckon that's better?
It's really good because we need an end game to the whole situation, and
Definitely.
it's nowhere near anytime soon. But pushing forward, and I think it was just today the EU announced a new fund to try and raise money for more testing and whatnot.
You got a virtual background on there, mate.
Just my toilet roll.
Gary, have you been stocking up on toilet roll, mate?
No, I just bought a few.
That's absolutely class. Yeah, so as me and Gary were just talking about, obviously there's people who have been, stocking up and buying tons of toilet roll or tons of masks and so on. So yeah, so that's a very cool background there, Gary, mate. So nice one, dude. But yeah, obviously that's been something that's been a major thing, and obviously I don't know if you noticed as well, Gary, mate, but Amazon. I mean, I think we covered it on Idiot of the Week a few
They're
weeks ago. They're
they're
not.
banning anyone that
Yeah,
stockpile selling, which is amazing
yeah, and
because it's what they deserve for trying to profiteer off a pandemic.
exactly. And I mean, these people, they're left with like thousands of rolls of toilet roll, and that's it. They can't
There
get rid of
was
it. So
there was one man in America that bought about 20k worth of hand sanitizers, and he managed to sell about 100 before they banned them. And then after they banned them, the government then won a legal battle to go and seize all the hand sanitizers to give them to the local hospitals. So yeah, got double whammied.
oh my goodness. Well, there you go. That's it, man. I've got an interesting one here, Gary. This is not really coronavirus related. Um, and that's a thing. Once again, it's not really misleading, but it's like when you read into it, you see that it's the actual crack with it. But basically, the headline is UK's largest bird of prey returns to the English skies for the first time in 240 years, which is pretty crazy. And there's a little video of it swimming here, which I thought this video was almost worth posting anyway, like was almost worth showing it anyway, just because of how I've never seen a bird swim like this. Didn't even know they could do it. So amazing, really. Let's have a quick look at that. Yeah, this one-eyed eagle was found swimming along a lobster's crew boat in the Atlantic Ocean on July 27th. I mean, maybe I'm just stupid, but I've never seen a bird of prey swim like that. So I think that's absolutely amazing. But this story is that the white-tailed eagle, the largest bird of prey in the UK, has been seen in flight in England for the first time in over 2 centuries, and it is being reintroduced by the Roy Dennis Wildlife Foundation in Forestry, England, and they've placed it on the Isle of Wight. And it says that I think they placed 4 there, or they placed a few, maybe more than 4 actually, and has a wingspan of up to 2.5 meters, and it has not been seen in England since 1780. And the hopes are that the bird, which has a white feathered tail, pale head, and yellow bill, will come to breed on the Isle of Wight and rebuild the population of the species. And there is a little picture of it there. It's a bit of a beast, that one. I mean, in the future, if I saw that,
8 foot wings, I'd run the other way.
it's a big bird, right? I know, it's pretty crazy, isn't it, man? Imagine that.
Yeah, I think people will be surprised that obviously with all of us on lockdown, the like lack of carbon emissions and all that, that'll bring a lot of wildlife back. And hopefully after it's all over, they won't all just jump in the car to drive down the shop to pick up a pint of milk and
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
contribute to keeping it, at least try to keep it down, because they're slowly killing the world and the
Yeah,
wildlife.
a really good point there, mate. Yeah, I think we'd mentioned as well, like places like Venice and places in India as well, that certain kind of fish were coming back, and different kind of fish have come back to these waters after so long, which I think is amazing as well, and it just shows. And we mentioned about air pollution, like what you were saying. There was a graph of like how
Yeah.
much it's decreased, like the pollution in the air in a lot of countries, and it's amazing, really. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I saw the picture of China. I think it was a month and a half ago. It was crazy what happened within a
yeah,
short time.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, that's a place as well which has a lot of pollution. So I think to be able to kind of to see them how much of a difference that's made, yeah. And I think yeah, it's really kind of talked about a bit, but it's going to encourage people to kind of promote green energy a bit more. I think which is great, and it's going to kind of really kick a lot of these countries up the butt to kind of go green, I guess. Got a good one here, bud, which I thought was really good, considering we're talking about this. This is that Pakistan's virus island workers hired to plant trees. So officials say that the move will create more than 60,000 jobs as the government aims to help those who lost jobs due to COVID-19 lockdown. And this is amazing. I mean, this is a pretty ambitious aim, but this is what Pakistan's planning to do. So since Pakistan is locked down starting March 23rd to try and stem the spread of COVID-19, unemployed day labourers have been given new jobs planting saplings as part of the country's 10 billion tree tsunami program. So yeah, the government's giving him a bet. This is about a worker, Abdul Rahman, lost his job to the coronavirus lockdown, and he was going to resort to begging on the streets or let his family go hungry. So it's really extreme stuff. But the government's now giving him a better option. Join tens of thousands of other out-of-work labourers planting billions of trees across the country to deal with climate change threats. And that's a 10 billion green tree tsunami program. So that's amazing.
It's really amazing because a lot of governments could learn from it, really, because the unemployment rates are just spiking through the roof. And as he says, he was going to go begging on the street to try and just get ends meet. And
Yeah,
now they're not only giving him money for a job that somebody would have had to do sooner or later, but they're also planting a hell of a lot of trees, which in a couple of 100 years will be amazing for the world.
exactly, bud. Yeah, and I mean that's a great point. And yeah, as you said, I read there it says he makes 500 rupees right a day planting trees, which is about half what he might have made on a good day in his previous job. But he says it's enough to get by. So obviously it's not perfect, but at the end of the day, if it's that or begging on the streets, I think it's a pretty good deal. And in the same time, he's doing something that is gonna benefit the earth as well. It's gonna help the world. So it's still pretty good, right? I think that it's good that he's able to kind of find employment and support his family, which is obviously the most important thing as well.
Yeah.
And I mean, at the same time, he's doing something that's going to kind of help the world. And hopefully, as soon as the lockdown's over, he'll be back into work again, and he'll have go back to his old job, hopefully. But yeah, as you said, it's a good one, man. So this is one I thought, which is really kind of another story here, which I thought was really sweet. It really touched my heart. So let's have a quick look at that one, and it is the headline or the caption is "Do you know I love you?" It's Winnipeg couple of 70 years connect through window and COVID-19 restrictions, and it says one member of the couple says, "We can't be physically close to one another, but we're not apart." And that's Sam, who visits Shirley daily. And Shirley Clayman can't be in direct contact with her husband Sam because of visitor restrictions due to COVID-19 at her personal care home, but he comes to her window every day to visit her, and he blows her kisses. So you can see a picture there of him blowing her a kiss through the window, and that kind of stuff absolutely touches your heart, doesn't it?
It's lovely.
So they've been together for 70 years, and he comes to go and see her by a window every single day. So yeah, that's something that really is it's quite a moving thing.
That's the type of stuff that people need to think of when they're struggling and why they're in lockdown. It's to save the people like that and to help them.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly, man. That's a really good point and a good way to put it. Um, we'll go to one more here as well. We've still got a few more, but we can save some of those, I guess. Um, so this is a good one here. Um, Italy has the fewest virus. Oh, went a bit too fast there. Fewest virus deaths since lockdown started. And here it says, it's a Bloomberg article, and it says Italy saw the number of new deaths from coronavirus falling to the lowest in almost 2 months as the country prepares to gradually ease its 2-month lockdown as of Friday. So I think that's absolutely awesome as well. So props to kind of Italy for staying tight and the solidarity that they shown throughout that, because obviously they got hit pretty hard.
Yeah, the country got rampaged
Yeah,
by it.
yeah, and I mean, obviously with Italy, one of the reasons that Italy got hit so hard at the get go as well is because I think that the part of the culture in Italy is that a lot of people have a it's not uncommon to have a family, like a household family of 5 people or 4 people, because I know that I had a friend who studied in Italy and they were telling me that a lot of them, a lot of people live with the parents until they're like in the 30s and stuff like that, and then the grandparents live with them, and that's also very common. So yeah, that's one of the reasons that when you've got a household together, it makes it a lot more difficult, especially when you've got the
Yeah.
elderly in the household with you as well.
Think if just one person spread it to an average of 4 people and you got 5 people spreading it, it just goes crazy.
Exactly, mate. There you go. Good point. Um, yes, so I think that we'll leave it about there for the news, and then I'm going to mention just a few of the things that we've got coming up stream wise, and then I think we should be about good, Gary. So let's have a look, and then I've got a little slide that I want to put on, which has just got some. I think here from showing it last Wednesday. I'm going to leave that on for a couple of minutes as well, guys, and that's basically just before we go out. It's basically kind of just showing a few of the kind of helplines that you can call if you are in need, and we will be putting it in the description as well, a linkable document as well for that, so you could be able to click on all the links as well. All right then, so I'll go through the streams that we've got for the week first. Oh, guys, before I forget, sorry, it's slipped my mind until now, but you already know what I'm going to say. We need to get the survey done for this, guys. So please, if you can, make sure that you can get the survey done, guys. We'll post the survey is in the description if you haven't seen it, and we'll get that in the chat as well if we can. I can have a quick look for it maybe if we'll have a quick look. But yeah, so if we can get that survey in there as well, guys. Yes, hear from God to it. Thank you very much. That would help us a lot, guys. And same as always, takes about 30 minutes. 30 minutes definitely doesn't take 30 minutes. That would be a long survey.
It just took me 10 seconds.
Well, yeah, Gary says it just took him 10 seconds. So there you go, guys. You heard it here. 10 seconds. That's what Gary did it in. So if you want to leave a comment, yes, you can. If you don't want to leave a comment, you don't have to. It's totally fine. Up to you. Just as long as we get those surveys done, guys. All right, and then I'll get onto the streams for this week. Obviously, bear in mind, guys, we've got a bank holiday on Friday, so we won't be streaming on Friday. But let's have a quick look here. I've got our list of things that we're doing up here. So today we had Intro to Digital Imaging, episode 1 with Ella and Haytham, and then we had Staying Connected with Dan and Gary. Tomorrow we will have Fit Body Fit Mind, episode 2 of 2, and that is going to be with Mel and myself, I believe. And then we will have Healthy Eating on a budget for. Oh, so sorry, I'll mention the times there as well, guys. So that's Tuesday tomorrow from 10 to 12. And then on Wednesday from 10 to 12, we've got Healthy Eating on a budget, episode 4. And I don't know what Mel's going to make yet, but I'm sure it will be delicious. They've all been amazing so far. And I've been so jealously watching every single one. So Healthy Eating on a budget, which is going to be 10 to 12 on Wednesday. And that is Mel and Dan and Haytham a double team in that, taking it. And then on Wednesday as well, from 4 to 5, we've got Staying Connected episode 14, which is going to be myself and Haytham. And that'll just be, the longer version of the podcast, the stream, where we just kind of talk about XYZ. And then Digital Skills for Beginners should be on the Thursday, which is 10 till 12, which should be an interesting one, guys. So stay tuned for that. And then we've also got Virtual Wellbeing as well, which is 1 until 3 on the Thursday as well. So jam-packed streams every day, and 2 streams a day on most days. So got plenty to look forward to there, guys. And I think that is about it. Thank you very much for joining us, Gary, mate.
No problem. Thanks for having us, I guess.
I appreciate it so much, dude. I am going to put the helpline on here. I'll just go through these advice lines actually, and then we'll go offline together, guys. So I'm just going to run through these briefly. So here you go, guys. we've got a few different kind of helplines here, guys. We've got lines for mental health. We've got Sunderland Mind there that you can get in touch with, and there's the number for Sunderland Mind. We've got Washington Mind, Northumberland Tyne and Weir crisis team there, Samaritans, and the Calm Zone. So that's mental health related. And then you've got COVID-19 related stuff there. And you've got plenty of different websites there, guys. Bear in mind, we also will be linking this in the description. And you're also welcome to watch the stream back if you want to have a look at these again. And yeah, so there you go. You've got domestic abuse lines as well. Is just before we go, are you still there, Gary? Are you still with us, bud?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I'm going to see, is anybody, I'm going to leave this screen on just for now. Has anybody got any questions for Gary before we go as well? Because we're just about to shoot off.
I will say one thing as well, them numbers, they're 24/7 as well. And literally when my sister rung them one for me, they come out to my house at 2:00 in the morning to see us. So they are there.
That is really good. So yeah, props. So yeah, thanks for that, Gary. So Gary just said there, yeah, obviously like the 24/7. So guys, bear that in mind as well. So yeah, that's some really important kind of things there as well. And I'm just gonna kind of leave that. Lynn says she's completed the survey. Thanks very much, Lynn. And wow, so what Mel's making as well. Mel is making. Sorry, I read Matthew's comment that made me laugh. Mel is making veggie burgers and blueberry muffins, which sounds awesome. And I mean, I like my favorite dessert, maybe blueberry muffins. I absolutely love it. It's absolutely awesome. And yeah, and Matthew said we need a survey buzzer, which is definitely a good one. So yeah, guys, I'll leave this on for one more minute, and then me and Gary are gonna take off, I think, guys. So yeah, let's give you guys another minute just to kind of check those out, write them down if you need any. Take a print screen if you want as well, guys. And if you do, if there's any that you forget, you could always ask us as well, and we could let you know. And then beyond that as well, you can always watch the stream back, and they're going to be there as well, guys. And we will be putting a link in the description too. Okay, is anything else you'd like to say, Gary Bud? Are you happy with that, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. Just hope everyone's doing well and has a good day.
Okie dokie, same from me, guys. Good. It was. Thanks for joining us, Gary. You were absolutely amazing, mate.
No problem.
You did brilliant. Honestly, like your responses were amazing. I really appreciate you taking the time to join us today. So if that's all, guys, I think me and Gary will take off. But thanks for joining us today, guys. I hope that everybody enjoyed the stream. And yeah, Lisa's just saying there, thanks, Gary, obviously, for sharing your story, and you were so brave in doing so. And I completely agree, Gary. It's obviously very hard, you know, for you to come on even and then, you know, tell us your story, be so open. And I think, you know, it genuinely, like people hearing your story, I think it's going to help them as well. So I really appreciate that, Gary, and very brave of you, mate. So thanks a lot, bud.
No problem.
Okay, and then we've got Lynn as well saying the same thing there, that it was so brave of you. I totally agree. All right, so I think me and Gary are going to take off, guys. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope everybody enjoys the rest of your day. So see you later, guys.
Bye.
Okie dokie.